All right. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I had a nightmare that everybody went off to see a comedian instead of staying to learn more. Oh, are you leaving for the comedian? No. Good morning. I'm Maybe Contreras, counseling here at Fresno City College and the chair for the Salary Advancement Committee. This is my last semester. I've been with the salary committee for 2 years. So Monique is now my co-chair, and she's going to be taking over for the next 2 years. So welcome, everyone. We have a lot of information for you. Hopefully, you can take this with you and start the process to advance in your salary steps.
Hi, my name is Monique Kelly, and I've been here at Fresno City College for the last 21 and a half years. And I remember the very first semester, they told me about advancing the salaries. I said, I can make more money. And so I remember the favor that one of my fellow colleagues did for me. And that allowed me over the years basically to max out to the maximum on our schedule. So hopefully after today's session, you will be able to do the same and your career here at Fresno City College. I do teach accounting here in the business division, and I am a CPA in the state of Georgia, and I do know the importance of maximizing your salary. So without further ado, if everyone has on their computer, if you haven't been able to actually access it, if you have a phone or a tablet. Mm-hmm. There is a QR code that you can access it, because we're going to, at the end of this presentation, we're going to actually fill out a practice form. So you can kind of get the feel for what you need to do so that you can meet the deadlines for this semester. So with that said, if you don't have the QR code capabilities, you can use the bit.ly link. For those people that are online, please use the bit.ly link. You can do a screenshot, or you can write it down, get a piece of paper, and then you can use that to access the information. All right. And make sure you log in or sign in if you're a person face-to-face. And what we'll do is make sure we turn that over to the office instructions so you can get your credit. All right.
All right.
So our goals for today, 3 top goals. We're going to make sure that you know how to identify how you were classified when you were first started, whether you're part-time or full-time. HR went through your documents and your transcripts, and they classify you in a certain class. And based on your prior experience, they put you in a certain step. And it is great to know with the self-service system, you can pull that up, and we're going to do that today. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the due dates and the process. Now, the process itself is based on the part-time and the full-time contract. Keep in mind that we are under negotiations. So what we're doing is we're doing you the process based on what is currently in place right now. As a new contract comes up, each individual employee is responsible for reviewing that contract to see if there's any changes as it relates to the process. So just be aware of that. And the last thing is we're actually going to do an activity where we go through and fill out the forms. So our agenda for the day is listed here, and it's just a detailed listing of what we're going to do. Okay. The mission of the committee.
Well, number one is to make sure that everybody has the information and the appropriate information, the accurate information for your salary steps and range, and how we can process your salary advancement and what is required of you so that HR can process your salary. And there is, of course, if you want to look further into it, make sure that you read the agreement, and that's in Article 15, Section A, okay? So make notes so that you can always go back. The committee is represented by number one, it comes out of student services. The dean of the student services is the one in charge of processing, receiving all of your transcripts when the time comes. And then we have a rep from all of the different pathways. Before it used to be division, so there used to be a lot more of us, but now that we are pathways, ACL, business, the CES, and library, health, and STEM, and tech and trades all have a rep. So, depending on what areas you're coming from, make sure you write down who your rep is, because they also have the same information that if you have questions, you can reach Monique or myself or any of the deans. Make sure that you reach out to your specific person in your area.
Okay. And keep in mind that dean of student service is the one that you're going to submit your information to. All right. So the first thing is there's 2 different contracts. So I don't know how many part-time people do I have here? Okay. And how many full-time people? Okay. So roughly about 30, 40, maybe 37. Okay. So at the very first link, if you do have access, and for those people that are online or even in here, if you click on that link, that full-time link, what it'll do, it will launch the contract. Now, I don't know about you, but I know about my students. But when they start talking about a 100-page document, they're like, what do I need to know for the exam? Well, what do you need to know for advancing your salary? I identified the page numbers. Now, these page numbers are the actual pages on the written document itself. It's not the page number on the Adobe Reader, depending upon which browser you're using. So you're all probably using different browsers. But the page number that I'm referring to, and the people on the call can't see me, but it is at the bottom center of the page. So look at that for the page number. So the first page where the contract is discussing related to the salary advancement is on page 45 for the full-time contract, and it's on page 44 for the part-time. And so what we did was we did our presentation based on what the district negotiated for the contract for full-time and part-time. Any questions on that? All right. And then those additional pages, there are lists of schedules of your salaries for the different classes and the different steps. And there's also the requirements for the courses that are needed for the classes and the different steps that are listed in the contract. So all that information is available to you. Then you'll go down to the next items. Keep in mind that the contract is what determines our class requirements. So this is a negotiated thing. It's not a standard across the country. It is what SCCC, 3 C's, D, negotiated with our union reps. And then the second thing is it also outlines the process. So with that process, it's like a legal agreement. So we have to make sure we follow that. And then the last thing is the dates. The dates are not specifically stated in the contract. The dates are the Friday of the 9th week. So depending upon the calendar, we will adjust it accordingly. So what we did was in the presentation, we put in the key dates for this semester. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is what is our steps? What is our class? How do we find that out? So what I need you to do, whether you're online or in person, I need you to go to the Fresno City College website. So when you go to the Fresno City College website, I need you to log in to your single sign-in. So how do I do that? You're going to go to My Portal, and you're going to type in your credentials to log into the system. So I'll give you all a couple of minutes. If you're on the online virtually, what I recommend you do, and I don't know if you can see it, you should be able to see it on my screen share. Am I sharing the screen?
I think they're sending messages on the website.
Yes, but are they? Is the screen being shared? Let's see. To get a copy of where it's the. See the.
I'll log into my phone and I can answer those questions.
I can't get the. Closed caption. Use the screen. So you should be able to see the 2 windows. The way I am able to keep track of it, I have a Chrome window and a Firefox. So on the left side, you'll see that I have my Chrome window open. And then on the right side, I have a Firefox window open. So the goal is what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you get to your dashboard. So after you log in, your My Portal, you're going to look for your self-service. That should be on your dashboard. If you happen to be one of those individuals that do not have it on your dashboard, you can add it to your dashboard by going to My Favorite Apps. Oh, well, no, App Catalog. App Catalog. Okay. So you can go to the App Catalog and look for the single sign-in so that it can be a part of your dashboard. Once you do that, you should have your self-services. So does anyone need help getting that? Help your neighbor? If you're online, go get your teenage kid to help you. Okay. All right. So once you do that, this is the process, and I'll go ahead and show it to you on the. Okay. So we go to My Portal. We select the single sign-in. We select the self-service. And on the far left-hand side, you will see a menu bar of various icons. From there, you're going to select the one that says employment. So you're going to select the employment icon, and you should get a drop-down menu. When you go down to the drop-down menu, you'll see something that says employees, drop-down caret. And what you'll do is you'll scroll to the very bottom and look for position, grade, and step info. Okay. So I'll repeat that again. So once you select your step, you're going to look at the menu bar with the icons. Look for the one that has employment, the one with the dollar sign. You're going to click on that, and then you're going to drop down under employees, and you scroll all the way down till you get to the final one. Does anyone need help getting that? All right. So this is where the magic begins. Okay. So on the system, I'm not a computer programmer, but what happened is they have it labeled as grade or range. That grade or range is basically synonymous for class. Okay. So that's your class. The class is based on the classes that you have taken. So this is where, whenever you started, HR looked at your transcripts and they put you on the class based on what the contract is stating. Okay. And based on what the contract is stating, they identified that, and that's what they put in system for payroll. So every month when you get paid, every month when you get your Schedule C, it's based on whatever it is they identified you at. And then the step is the number of years you've actually worked. So I know for me, I worked somewhere else prior to coming here. And also I worked also in the profession. So when they did my classification, they went ahead and put me at a certain level, even though I had, that was the first year I was teaching here at Fresno City College. So this step will be your years of experience, okay? So what I'd like you to do is write that down. So the letter is a Roman numeral letter.
My name's Sonny Silva. I think I need to reschedule
You have a
my
question?
appointment. I'm not sure if you can help me with that.
Sunny, you are on speaker.
Okay. So if you have a question and you're on the virtual, please put the question in the chat and we will stop from time to time and make sure we answer those, okay? So anyone out there, I have to wear my readers because I can't see the chat unless I have them on. An entry years of experience in the district. I think it depends on what year you actually, now the question is, I'll go ahead and read it for the people here. Is this years of experience in the industry or years of experience in the district? This is, from my understanding, the years of teaching experience. And keep in mind that I've been here for 20, going on 22 years. The contract has changed several times during that duration. So depending upon when you came in, you would have to look at the contract that you came in under. And then that would be how they were determined. Keep in mind, too, I teach in accounting, which is considered CTE education, which is somewhat different than some of the areas. So again, based on the contract, they have to do their assessment of the number of years based on that for your situation. Okay. So any questions here?
What if you can tell by looking at it that it's wrong because you've been here 20 years?
So it's wrong. It's not wrong to HR. So that if you have questions about where you should be, then you need to definitely get a hold of HR.
I just want to know because it says 7C.
Are you part-time?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're moving down steps.
So then what I would do is just because I'm being recorded, huh?
Okay. So let's see. From experience, from what we have seen in the past, many faculty who have been here for 15, 20 years, they get stuck in the same range only because they haven't done anything to advance in their salary steps. So every year we move down. However, if you take classes, do more trainings that are approved by the committee for HR purposes, then yes, you move across the range.
The base year on the base year is on the actual calendar year or on the units teach, like the equivalency unit. 6 units a semester versus in teaching 15 or 12 units.
So then that might be different for part.
It's different for part-time.
You recall saying something similar by ACTA before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that some of that. Yeah.
Yes.
How do you know how can you find out what the requirements are?
The requirements for what?
The steps.
So we're going to definitely discuss that, but it is taking classes to advance. Or type of trainings within your field of study.
Because when I called HR, they said the only thing I could do is like get another degree.
What is your teaching field? Nursing. What the nurses are doing in your area, either they're taking trainings or they're finishing another degree or maybe a certificate. As a nurse, you have to be taking continuous education training. Exactly. So all of those count.
Oh.
All of those count.
I also got a teaching credential. Does that count at all?
Yes, those are units, right?
Tell me no.
Those are. Is it a teaching credential for to teach in the high school or?
It includes secondary education.
So it's units. Through an accredited. So definitely we can discuss that because we can look at your transcript and see if those are approved credits to advance.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have some time for questions afterwards, but we want to make sure that we get through the information that we have. No, questions are great. So it'd be great because also the other thing is we as the advancement committee, we're going to be meeting too. And it's very helpful if we know what are concerns. Mm-hmm. So if you can't give it to your pathway representative, please email either myself or Evie so that we can make sure that those concerns are addressed. Okay. All right. So the next thing is the application for the class advancement. So hopefully everybody knows where they are, right? Everybody has their class and their step. And then now what is the process? So just FYI, did we do that? I can't remember. Oh, so before we do this, I forgot to do that. Okay. So you'll notice on the left-hand side, we got our class. Now this first one that I'm showing you, I know it's kind of small, but it is in the contract as one of I think it's Schedule A and Schedule A and the full-time. And then for part-time, it's Schedule C at the end of the contract. So it's towards the end of the contract. I think the part-time is like 61 pages. And then the full-time is 111 pages. So what you'll notice here, I did not put the entire schedule here, but this might answer the question that was asked earlier from the part-time folk. This one right here, I believe goes up to like 28 years or 20.
Can we get to a document on that?
It's in the contract, but I'll have to pull it up.
How do you get a contract?
Oh, it's actually on the website that you just saw. Okay, so the website that we actually showed you, that the link that you have access to. This is a website. You can share this with other people who are not here. Again, this link right here takes you directly to the Fresno City College salary advancement. If you don't want to use that, you can actually type in faculty salary advancement in the search tool, and this webpage will come up. This right here has all the information that we are sharing. Some of these items will be updated this semester, but for the most part, most of this is current. But right here, after the names of the people that are represented, just FYI, you can click these from your computer and you can send us an email directly. So you don't even have to spell our names correctly. You just click it from here. And then you'll go here. This is the full-time contract. You'll click on that if you're full-time. The part-time contract is also listed here. You'll click on that. And so those page numbers that I was showing you, that's what those are referring to. These are the actual contracts from the district site that all of the campuses are adhering to. Does that make sense? Okay. So in there, let's go back. Go back to the presentation. This
Page.
faculty time, faculty, I don't know the exact page number, but it's towards the end. It's Schedule A towards the end. And if you're part-time, you're looking for Schedule C. Schedule C. All right. So you'll notice here that range, that's your class, right? So that class, that first one, Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3, Roman numeral 4, Roman numeral 5. Okay. So what that 5 means, if any of you have Roman numeral 5 and you are a full-time employee, you've already maxed out. Okay. So there's nowhere else to go if you are a full-time employee. Now, the only concern that I'm being recorded, right? Nervous. But
page 98.
Page 98. Okay, page 98 for the full-time. And does anybody know the page number for the part-time? What page it was? Okay.
53.
53. So let's see. Page 98 for full-time and page 53 for part-time. All right. So on here, just FYI, especially if you're recently a new full-time employee, if you think there's an error in your step, you need to make sure that that's communicated in a timely fashion to HR. So that would be something that you want to take care of sooner rather than later. Based on reading the contract. And I can't tell you, depending on when you came in or what have you, you would need to review the contract and make sure that whatever number or letter you wrote down, that is, you agree with it based on the contract.
And it is based on the number of units that you completed prior to being hired. So it depends on your degree and the number of units within that degree, or any type of training and years of experience. So everything's individually, calculated.
Yeah, so that's the range/class. Range and class are the same thing. And then if you go down the rows, the numbers, and this is where with the full-time people, it goes all the way up into, I think it maxes out at 30 years. So if you work here for 40 years, guess what? You are only going to be at 30 because that is the maximum that we negotiated for. That makes sense. Yes.
So when I pull this up, it says 2018.
It doesn't have your...
That's what it says. I just clicked on the part-time thing and...
Oh, the contract itself?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, this one is the full-time. I haven't got to the part-time yet.
So it says 2018. I believe that is, they haven't negotiated anything different or nothing has changed since.
Yeah, so our effective date is 2/21, but...
Your steps are different,
Okay. So now when we look at the part-time one, which is on page 53, you'll notice that their classes, same as the range, it goes up to 6, not 5. So if you're a part-timer, the only way you can max out is going up to 6, not 5. So if you're a 5 and you are a part-timer, you can max out at 6. And per the current contract, it is reserved for individuals possessing a doctorate degree or a master's of fine arts degree. That's how you would be able to max out for the classes. Now, the earlier question was 7C. Well, 7C is basically the highest step you can do for. So if you've been here 20 years, 7C would be the maximum based on these schedules.
But they do advance you every year. Every year you do go down a step. So as you have noticed, I'm sure every year it's a different amount. So you are, with every year of experience, they do provide you a different amount. So you go lower on the step or higher on your step.
You said 2018 though. It should be 2021. It's not reading that?
No.
The contracts online is the 2023. And then
Okay, so it may not have the current schedules with the COLA that was, okay, so we need to fix that.
Yes.
2018 numbers. All right. So what I can do is I got this document as of 2021. I can add these 2 documents to our Google site page. So we'll have that. I'll do that after the session. So at least you'll have what we're talking about. Okay. So these are the numbers. And I did put a source. Can you click on the source link on there and see if it'll take you to this location on that?
Yeah, the SCCCB website, if you go there, you can easily access it.
Okay.
So,
yeah, so try that link. That was the source, and I made it a launchable link, so it should hopefully give you the up-to-date one. Those people that are on, why does apartment contract has an amount of $72? I don't understand that question. Do you understand?
Maybe they can ask because I don't see.
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the wrong contract. Now I know it's 2021.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so now we're going to get into the actual application process to move you to the next range or next class, okay? Our process has nothing to do with the steps. We only about moving on the columns to the
steps have to do with the time that the college considers you employed.
Yes, and your experience of teaching. Yes.
So there is a process for us to follow here before you advance to the next step, and that is applying for advancement. So it's a 2-step process. Number 1 step is petitioning for you to take a class. Let's say you want to take a nurse for under equity. It doesn't matter what field of teaching you have. You can take a class from FPU at 1, maybe even a class at Fresno City College under lower division. You can take a class and then petition for the committee to approve the class. So that's step 1, and we'll go through the forms in a little bit. Then after you submit that form, you're going to get a copy of it for your records. Once you are ready to advance, and I don't think we have the number of units in there, but it's, 60 or lower is your step 2. Up to 75 is your step 3. No, it's 60 below. Step 3. 75 is your step 4, and then 90 units is your step 5 for the full-timers. It's a little different for the part-time faculty. So let's say that you are at step 3, you have 67 units completed, and you need to get to 75. So that's 8 units that you have left to do. So how do you take those? You just go over to FPU, take a class online, take some lower division, 3 units of lower division with us. So it all depends on how you want to max those number of units. So then you take those classes in fall and spring, and then by May, you can complete all of those classes and submit your application for advancement. So there's a letter of intent that we are utilizing, and we'll go over that letter as well. And that letter of intent, if you have all of your units completed for the next step, is what you'll turn in to the committee. And that's what we submit over to the HR people. We'll need a copy of your official transcripts after the completion of your classes. Let's see if I can. There's a lot of faculty that are taking classes under maybe National or Phoenix, and they do have the quarter units instead of semester units. So there is a calculator.
Yeah,
Yes. There's a calculator that you can use so that you can convert your units from quarters to semester units, because that's what we use here, semester units. For every 2 semester units, if you have 3/4 units, it's divided by 1.5, and that gives you 2 units, et cetera. So you can utilize a calculator and convert that. So the process again begins with you submitting, and this is coming from PIO. The office of the PIO will send you or will send the faculty a petition for you to fill out with the deadline. And it's usually after the 9th week that we send something off, and then it is due March, the first week of March. So that petition comes back to us, the committee meets, that we review all of the classes. You'll be sending us a copy of the class syllabus to compare that to your teaching field. Or if it's out of your teaching field, you can also petition to have that class reviewed. If you're in nursing and you want to take a class under equity or even a teaching class itself, online teaching, you can also do that. Some of the other classes that are being approved, if you have, all of you went off to do online teaching. So if you took the class, that is a given that we are giving you 3 units for the DE, the distance education training. So if you took that, that's 3 units there that you have, and also Cora. If you guys have not taken a Men of Color class, Cora is actually free. If you go into our website, and we'll go into it, if you go onto the Men of Color website, and the classes themselves are $200. But once you sign off, we do have a contract with the company, and it is free to us. So you can take 3 certificates there, and that's 3 units of lower division that we can use. So even though the certificate from Cora says 1.5 units, we'd only use 15 hours for the fact that those certificates do take less than 15 hours. So we give you 15 hours of training, which equals 1 unit. So if you can take 3, that's 3 classes of 3 lower division units. One of the things that if you're taking classes for credit, you can take 3 units of lower division. Let's say you're missing only 8 units for your next step. 3 can be lower division. So you can take a class here at Fresno City College, maybe a foreign language class, anything you want. We can use 3 units. If you're taking, let's say, a foreign language class and it's 5 units, we only use 3. That's only 5 units left that you can go to FPU and take that. So there are some, if FPU is one that is utilized quite often. So what you can see from your list there is, there's different certificates, different courses that you can take. Again, they don't have to be in your area. You can go outside your area and take classes from that. Go ahead.
Does HR not know when you finish the DE?
They don't.
So we have to let them know?
We have to let them know. We have to let them know. They have no way. There's thousands of us, so there's no way.
That's why we got to go find the email and certificate that was sent to me a few months ago and send it off to HR.
You can do that. You can send it to us, and we can send it to them. It might be a little easier to track.
Even them color ones, I did all three of those. So.
Yes, they have no information about what you do. If you finish a PhD, that like Dr. Hill had to inform HR that her PhD had been completed. So make sure that you are coming through the committee. If you have taken classes in the past, and let's say you took a class at FPU last semester, but notify no one, it was not approved. Talk to us. Let us know what you have taken, and then we can see, we can file that form for you, and then get you ready for the application period, which is coming up this semester for advancement.
All these different trainings that we're talking about, we get credit for. Is there a process we just email you saying, hey, we've completed this DE, here's a certificate, send it to you?
Because that is the DEs have been grandfathered in, Coras have been grandfathered in. So yes, those we can use a form from the past, and you can definitely get credit for that.
So that's my question. If we've taken something in the past, how long is it good for?
It's good forever. I took a PE class back in 2002. And I submitted that along with everything else that I had taken care of, and it was taken.
I was a little bit late. How do we get a hold of you?
We'll give you our information, and then everything is on the website.
Yeah. So that link, if you take a picture, take your phone out, take a picture of this, you'll be able to access all of the links and so forth. The very first link will take you to this page, and it has all the people, and you just click on it and it'll automatically email it.
Fresno City College has, we created this website. I know we have to update it. We created this website, so all of the links work, our emails work in there, so please reach out. However, PIO is going to be sending out the petition for course approvals very soon. So keep your eyes out for that. It has all the information that you need as well for that. Where are we with? One of the things about transcripts and everything else, your official transcripts need to be sent over to the office of the dean. And we talked about that with, we have the administrative assistant, Rosemary McDonald will be the one receiving those transcripts. And then we create a packet. So we create a packet with all of your information, your justification of why you took the class, your transcripts, your letters of intent, and your petitions for course approvals. And all of that is put into a packet and sent off to your dean, number one. And then the dean signs a magic form to advance you. And then from your dean's office, it goes to the office of the president. Then your president approves your advancement, and then from there it goes over to HR.
You're not talking about like the transcripts I submitted when I got hired. Is anything beyond that? Anything beyond the hiring date, and that is the important thing. Is you were hired at a certain point, and then you're giving steps after that with your years of experience. You're moving steps. However, you're not moving range because nothing has been done. It took me about 13 years. I did not know about salary advancement back in the days when I was part-time. And it is so important to have the information because it shouldn't take 13 years to advance to the highest possible range. But it is the knowledge. Please take it to your colleagues, to part-time faculty that might not know. There's a lot of nurses that have come through and they've moved up. So there's ways that we can help.
So we can. I think we're running short on time, so we need to kind of go to the next part.
Let's go to the forms.
But just a quick thing, a clarification: when PIO sends out that form, who should they send the completed form that's due in May? do you want to send it directly to you? Do you want to send it to Rose? Or
no, the form now will go to
me,
the new
okay.
chair.
So then I will have that so I can share it with the committee. Okay. So that is the answer to the question that was asked virtually. After that information goes out, you will send it to me so that I can get it ready to review with the committee. Monique Kelly. But it will include that. We'll include that.
All of that is in the form.
When the PIO, because it's going to go out to everybody in this campus.
One of the things that we are asking is once you have that form in hand, that you don't scan it back to us. We need to sign it digitally. So we have to make sure that it's coming back to us in the same format. So fill it out. It's a template, so it's a fillable template. So make sure that you send it to us and request signatures instead. Vicky?
Maybe just a real quick note then, if especially the part-timers not getting the information on how to do this, and maybe years go by and they don't know. Right now, Lydia Anderson is writing a manual training for all new items. She might need this information so that new people, they're not lost. They at least know how to get a hold of you guys.
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, I'll put that on my follow-up.
It's called Adjunct Academy.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I want to make sure we can go through a real life example, because this is where we see most of the issues for the committee. And we want to make sure that we have at least some practice. Now, again, we don't have the current forms yet. So we're using last year's forms. But for the most part, it's going to be the same format. Mm-hmm. So for those of you that are logged into your computer, and if you're on the presentation, the first form we have, which will be due March 10th, this is for the folks that need prior approval for their classes. So these are classes that are outside your field and that are lower division, or like we mentioned earlier, Quora, distance ed, any like conferences and so forth that you want to be acceptable. Now, the key to remember is this form, that very first one, the petition, this is done before the first day of the class. Because we don't want you taking, or especially if you're spending money on something that's not approved. So this should be, you should get approval before the class starts so that we can make sure that you get your credit. Yes.
That's for every class. Right?
Give us a call if you're taking a class, let's say next week, form is still not out. Give us a call and let us know what class you're taking, and we can see if it's a class that it's been taken in previous times, or let's say it's something related to counseling and or your teaching field, and we can see if that is or has been approved in the past.
Does that include CEUs?
CEUs are on the bottom, and again, you have to be careful with taking all those CEUs. You can only take 3 CEUs per step. So if you have 15 units to do for your next step, you can only use 3 lower division. That includes 3 CEUs. We are working with the district on making 2 different areas, CEUs and a lower division, so that people can have 6 units, but HR is still not ready for 6 units of that. So the 3 units of lower division or 3 units of CEUs, either or for per step. So again, per 15, for every 15 units, you can only use 3.
Okay. So see if you can go ahead and select the very first item on that link. And I'd like to know, because it's not allowing, I know from teaching this classroom, sometimes there's restrictions on the form, but is it allowing it to be a fillable form, or is it just a visual PDF from your computers?
It's asking you to sign in.
Is asking you to sign in?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So
The form? Where do we get the form?
It is on the page. It's the first one, petition for approval of units. How can
so you can view at least you can view the form. Let's go over it. We don't have to fill it out, because again, you're going to get one from PIO, and that's going to be a fillable form. but we can go over the different areas so that you can see based on time. So the first line says upper division within your teaching area. And, that's a given that if you take a class, let's say, what classes have you taken that are upper division post grad? Course development, a teaching class, online teaching class. So if you take a class and it is within your teaching field, you can put it on that first line. Even though you truly don't need approval because that is a course that it's a granted that it is within your field. I would definitely advise that you put it on your form and let us approve that so that you can have it on record. HR has there's a lot of changes going on in HR people have moved on and promoted. So there's a lot of new people. So it's best to protect yourself and put in all those courses that you have taken within your field. Then the second section, of course, on that form is your classes outside the field. This is, let's say you're teaching welding, but you want to take a class under equity. Then you can take a class at FPU under equity, and that's outside the teaching field. So you'll be able to get approval for that. The next line over is your CEUs. So your CEU, your lower division. And then again, we talked about it already, that you can take a class from Fresno City College, 3 units, and be done with that. And then, or 3 CEUs, and that could be your Cora courses. Does everybody have, or have you guys all seen the website for Cora? It is free again, so take advantage of that.
I even after getting in with my Gmail account, I had to request access. Yeah.
That's on me after.
So don't worry about the form. The form will come to you. The form will come via the office of the PIO.
Can you tell me how to access the Adobe from here? Because it's not letting me into the Adobe. It's
from here?
Yeah, asking me to sign in.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Let's go over the other form, the letter of intent. Yeah, it's a system here.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. Let's go over the letter of intent. Okay, so let's say you finish your 15 units for the next step or the next range. So now you have to do a letter of intent. And the letter of intent is there, okay? So what we have done, even though HR in the contract says May 1st is the deadline, we know that there's a lot of stuff going on in May for faculty grades and everything else. So we have moved or extended the deadline for you to submit the letter of intent until May 31st. We don't have, as long as we have the letter of intent by May 31st, you have until July 31st to turn in your transcripts. So you can still take a summer class and finish that off. As long as we have your transcripts by July 31st, we still have time to submit. So the process would be you submit your letter of intent, your course petitions and justifications, and then eventually your transcripts to us. And then again, we create that packet. We review it. We create that packet. We count the number of units. We make sure. And that's why it's so important that you know what step and range you are in, because that is, was it on the sample one? Probably not. But you have to fill out that salary classification area. That's so important. HR is not going to go back and look for you. We need to make sure that you have that in there. And it's only your present class and number. The requested one, let's say you're in step 3, you have, or you're class 3, you want a class 4. So that's all you have to know. You don't have to know the number because you're going across no matter what. So let's say you're going class 3, step 6. Going to go across to class 4, step 16.
How do you get across? Units, just units?
It's number of units.
How many units to get?
15. So a 60 again. 60 is 3 step class 3. 75 is 4, and 90 is 5.
Say it again.
Conversion from quarter to semester again?
1.5.
1.5. Mm-hmm.
220, if I have a degree of 225 quarter units, that would put me at 150.
150 units, and have you taken anything past that degree?
I should be in class, at least class 4, right?
Right.
No, I've been denied 3 times.
By HR or by the committee?
Okay.
By the committee?
Yeah.
We don't deny you.
I have a letter from you.
But that came from HR.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this question then. Is there an appeals process?
Yes, through HR. And I know faculty have done so, where they have gone back to HR to review with the person in charge of why the denial was done.
Who's that individual?
Right now is Johnson, his last name, Catherine. We'll get it for you. Brand new person.
Perfect. Thank you.
So what happens? Okay, so yes, there are faculty out there that are denied. It's only because they don't have the number of units, or it's not the right classes, or they were hired at a certain time and nothing has been done past that. A lot of it too has been, I've seen some that have been denied for because it's training and training that is related to without CEUs. So there's different circumstances of why HR denies. We don't deny. Let's say you're taking a dance class, but you are teaching welding. So it's like, okay, does it relate? You have to justify to the committee why it's related to that area. So then we denied some classes that are, not justified. Other than that, HR is the one that denies. You had a question, and then we'll go to Susan.
I was just going to say, because I when I got hired, I had my certificate from older system.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you got hired with a bachelor's, and then you did your master's program, you should be totally advanced.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't, because I came in with a master's degree from the quarter system, and so I need to do I think it's like 45 extra units just to get to the top.
That's what I had to do.
Is it fine arts?
Because I got
I understand that, but when you're hired, you should be put in classification based on the degree you have.
It's the degree, the number of units within that degree.
I don't know your name, but can you, because that's
strange.
Can you give me some more details? There's a person I'd like to share that information with that's that could help. Okay, thank you.
Susan, you had a question?
Doctor in a quarter system is not a doctor in a quarter system. Right. Wow.
Yes, it's every class.
But on the form it says maximum degree plus 45 units.
So 45 units to the very end. So a master's degree. Okay. So it all depends on your degree and the number of units. For example, my degree is an MSW with 58 units. So then that meant that back in the days when I got hired, I was step 2 because it's less than the 60 units. So in order for me to advance to step 3, I needed to take some classes. So then eventually I reached out to the 45 units. So it took me 22 years to do 45 units to get to step 5.
So it doesn't really matter how many units in the master's degree, 45 on top of that.
No, it's 45. It's past your bachelor. So count your bachelor's
45 beyond the bachelor.
Post bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm.
Can you all please repeat what the people there are saying and asking, because we can't hear it online. It's all muted. It would benefit us as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so sorry. They were asking about the number of units. So past the bachelor's degree. So it's in order to advance, again, it's your bachelor's plus 45 units to advance. And then there was another question about having a bachelor's degree and quarter units as well. And we discussed the fact that quarter units are divided by 1.5 so that we can get semester units for that. Any other questions from the audience, Monique, that we can answer?
Okay, the first question we have is if we aren't sure how many units HR has given us credit for, who should we contact to ask?
So her last name is Johnson. I'm thinking Lydia Johnson, but I will get that name, and whoever signed up for the workshop will get an email with the information from HR, just in case there's new people out there that are now taking over.
There are also some questions. I guess there's some raised hands, but it's not showing up on our screen. But I'll get to those in just a moment. I was just trying to enroll in a core course. The coupon code that makes the class no cost has expired. Okay, we can't answer that question. That we don't know the answer to. They are negotiating a new contract with Quora people, so it's not available at this moment. Someone else answered it. And another question was so 90 units are required to move to 5 to 5.
Correct. 90 units to 5. So I know, again, the important thing here is keeping an eye out for those forms. And if you guys have any questions about a class that you have already taken, please reach out to Monique or myself, and we'll follow up with you on and get you the appropriate form so that you can have that handy for when you have to submit for your letter of intent. April Johnson. April Johnson is the person in HR that took over Paula Lopez.
Okay, everyone that's in the classroom, we went ahead and sent it to your document folders, those 2 files. So go to your Explorer and look to the document folder, and you should be able to see those 2 files where you have access to. Those people that are online, I shared it through the chat, the actual files, so you can go to the chat. And right now I'm looking for the people that raised their hands, so that you can be given an opportunity to ask your question. I cannot find it on the view. Where is my?
So open up the platform. On the computer here, open up the platform and look at the document.
You just gotta. You think crazy? You know what I've been dealing with is.
You guys see them? Letterman been there. Guys see them?
Yeah, so the 2 files.
You can email them to yourselves, everybody, or you got some kind of online storage or some kind of storage, you can transfer to that.
Yeah. Email it, and then if you have a USB drive, you can stick it on the left-hand side, and you can actually save it to your local drive, or you can upload it to your OneDrive or Dropbox or however you.
We are available for questions. You can always email us, ask questions. I'm always getting questions from the faculty out there, wanting to know if certain classes are going to be approved. So just to get an idea. So
we have 3 questions. Sally, can you go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, thank you. My questions go back to the step or the grade, I guess. So if you are would you be the same grade if you're full-time in Schedule A as you would in Schedule C? Because I don't pay attention, I guess, sorry, to my pay stubs. And I know, like, for some things on overload, I often hear Schedule C. So I guess I get paid, in a separate category for some of the things that I do. And so would I be the same grade? Like, let's say I'm a 5 in in the full-time thing, Schedule A, would I be a 5 or would I be a 6 or how do I know?
You would have to go to the contract and there is actually a page for Schedule C.
Contract. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so if you go to the Schedule A, there's a Schedule B, and then you're going to go to the Schedule C for the contract.
And it'll tell me what I am, or I can determine that?
Yes, you should be able to do that. Okay.
On my specific contract, you're saying?
No, on your, so whatever, the actual page is not going to look the same as the part-time. It's a different Schedule C. In the full-time contract. So you need to go to the full-time contract.
Okay, gotcha.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that question. And let's see, Gerard, can you go ahead and answer your question or ask your question?
Okay, thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so considering our campus is working towards equity and being race conscious, would the committee be willing to suggest or advocate for our Fresno City College's classes that are focused on ethnic studies or culture to be grandfathered in like the core classes? For example, the new CSU GE pattern has a whole ethnic studies area with classes. And I think if this process, including grandfathering those classes in, that will move towards helping and encouraging us to study other cultures.
But those are diversity, equity, and inclusion classes are allowable classes, depending upon what area you're teaching in. It could be inside your field or outside your field. But for that actual class, it's already included, depending on if it's at Fresno City or at Fresno Pacific or at Fresno State or a four-year institution. The only issue would be, is it lower or is it upper level? So that we can figure out which category it goes in.
So
we are in conversation with RAMREL because many faculty want to take RAMREL and it is almost 30 hours of so. However, they also pay faculty $25 per session. So if you take the $25, you cannot claim the CEUs. So you have to either choose to not get paid, and then we can also include that as a CEU for you.
So just clarification, if it's under diversity and inclusion, I'm sorry, exactly the words used, we can anticipate that it's going to be accepted, or is that depending on our
That's
area?
correct. That is correct.
So no matter which area we teach or work on campus as a faculty member, if we do a diversity course, we can expect that to be counted.
Yes. However, certain categories have maximums that are allowed. So depending upon what category ends up falling in, it's going to max out at a certain.
So if we do a Fresno City College class, we max to 3 units or per block.
Yes,
that's correct.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for your question. Okay, Mark, the third person.
Hi, Monique. Happy New Year.
Hi. Happy New Year.
Thank you guys for both doing this and stuff. It's a crazy day, isn't it? Okay. Hey, so before the pandemic and stuff, I took 2 or 3 classes, went through the committee, got them all approved, whatever. And I was just everything's kind of like fallen off the radar. So how can I find out what was passed on from the committee to HR so I know exactly where I'm sitting at in terms of number of units? I think I'm like a couple of units before step 5 or something like that. So
did you do a letter of intent?
I have not. Well, when I did a letter of intent for all 3 classes, are you talking about the ones I took from you guys that were approved by you guys?
Yes.
So I did all those, but I don't know if those were ever sent on to HR. So I don't know where I sit.
Sorry, what is your name?
Mark
I have his name listed so we can talk about it offline.
We can definitely look into it. I don't remember seeing a letter of intent for you. And I have records, so you can email me and I can check your records.
When you say letter of intent, you're talking about to take classes, correct?
No, that's your petition for course approval.
Okay, so if I have not done a letter of intent. So the letter of intent is is for me to find out how many units I'm from the next category. That's just
the letter of intent is now that you have completed all of your units for your next step. Now we are doing a letter of intent to send it over to HR.
Right. And I don't know if I've completed all the classes that I've taken so far. I don't think I'm at the next level. I don't remember how close I am to know. Yes.
Mark, you can come by my office and I can help you and walk you through this. So
perfect.
So we go ahead. And my office is in BE 118 and it's being recorded.
Good job. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, guys.
All right. One question right here. Go ahead.
Okay. So just to clarify, so we submit a petition. We could do that for 5 semesters or 5 years, and we essentially accumulate all the units we need. And then when we're ready, then we submit the letter of intent.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're going to go ahead and work on so you can pull that information without having the requirement for Google logging in. Are there any other burning questions? Do you remember your pathway representative? And you know exactly how to contact Evie and Monique, right? All right. So hopefully you learned something new, and I'm challenging you to share it with at least 3 other colleagues. So 3 other colleagues, I'm challenging you to share this information. So,
where do we put these?
Thank you
up here
for your
participation.
And
thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.